When I was asked to give the caregiver speech this year, I admit I was a bit apprehensive about it. Not just because the idea of public speaking freaks me out, but because I don't really consider myself a primary caregiver. I don't know exactly how many rounds of chemo there were, how many surgeries were done, but I agreed to do it because I know there are others like me that can relate to my story. My name is Geena Quisenberry, and 4 years ago, my dad was diagnosed with stage 3 esophageal cancer. I found out when I got home from work one evening. My dad said he went to the doctor because he was having trouble swallowing. He showed me some pictures of his esophagus, pointed to the tumor, and in a nonchalant tone told me it was cancer. I was kind of speechless and didn't know how to take it. He mentioned, well, I had skin cancer and they just cut that out. So I figured it's something I really don't need to worry about. However, the next day, I was getting a ton of texts, emails, and Facebook messages from extended family saying things like, I'm so sorry about your dad, you must be so scared, and if you need to talk, I'm here. I called my sister and asked her if dad's gonna be okay. She said, I don't know, and that's when I lost it. This was a much bigger deal than my dad made it out to be. I went home and hid in my room. My dad came in and gave me a hug, apologized for making it sound like nothing, and told me he was gonna beat this. He had a few rounds of chemotherapy, and then he would go in for surgery. The chemo made him pretty sick. It even landed him in the hospital. It was sad seeing someone I care so much about become so weak and sick, and it couldn't do anything about it. I wanted to stay positive, but I was still worried I might lose my dad. Luckily, the chemo did good things for him as far as getting rid of the cancer, but he still needed to go in for surgery. The doctors cut out about 2/3 of his esophagus and stretched his stomach up to fill the gap. The day of his surgery, me, my mom, my sister, my aunt, and one of my cousins came for support. I remember right when he came out of surgery, the 5 of us surrounded his bed. My mom asked him if he recognized anyone. He was so out of it, but he pointed to me and said, "There's Geena." My dad was stuck in the hospital for about a month. There were issues with the drainage, and he picked up a staph infection. He had tons of tubes in him. He couldn't eat or drink. He was skin and bones. Fortunately, he managed to stay positive. There were only a small amount of times I remember him looking frustrated. My sister and I went to visit him in the ICU after another surgery to fix the drainage issue. He was drugged up, and the first thing he told us was, make sure Mom goes to the Harley dealership. I think he was anxious to get back on his motorcycle. I came in to visit him towards the end of his hospital stay to witness the nurses remove his draining tubes. It made me cringe, but that meant he could come home soon. Although home, his journey still wasn't over. He still needed to go in for a few more rounds of chemo. My dad was a trooper and went back to work after his long hospital stay. It was weird for all of us to see him come home midday to take a nap. He was always really tired and foggy. We couldn't even have people over because we didn't want to risk him getting sick. Despite all the hardships, things only got better from there. One of my dad's physical trademarks is his beard. Chemo is known for making hair fall out, and even with all the treatment he got, the beard never left. It may have thinned out a little bit, but it always stuck around, just like my dad. No matter what happened, he stayed strong and never lost hope. It has been 3 years since all that. My Dida is happy, healthy, and back on his motorcycle. and he is the reason why I'm up here and why I relay. Thank you.
Well, Geena, I don't know how you kept it together. I was over there crying myself. That was beautiful.